Hello and what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel where we break down the world's biggest stories with fresh insights and powerful perspective. And today we have got a brand new video you don't want to miss. Guys, what happens when the richest country in the world pulls the plug on food aid to the poorest? So it's not just a funding issue, it's not just another political decision buried in bureaucracy. For millions of people, this is a matter of life and death. Recently, the United States, a long-time global leader in humanitarian assistance, made a shocking move. It drastically slashed funding for the food aid, a move so severe that the United Nations World Food Programme has called it a death sentence for the millions of people. You might be wondering, but why now? What has changed? And who will suffer the consequences? So, in this video, we are diving deep into the decision that's shaking the humanitarian world, unpacking the reasons behind it, the human toll it's expected to take, and what it tells us about the shifting priorities of the global power. So, guys, let's break it down and let's get started. So this just about the program or a few people. We are talking about a systematic collapse in funding that affected nearly 50 countries around the world. Yes, the World Food Program, the world's largest humanitarian organization, has already warned that more than 24 million people could be pushed closer to starvation due to this funding shortfall. At the center of it all is the United States, which has long been the single biggest contributor to food aid globally. But this year, something has changed. US lawmakers dramatically reduced funding to the World Food Program and other humanitarian aid organizations. The reasons for this are budget tightening, shifting geopolitical priorities, and growing domestic pressure to focus inward rather than the outward. Supporters of the cuts argue that with the inflation, a rising national debt, and crisis at home, from healthcare to homelessness, it's time America stops being the world wallet. They believe $8 should be reallocated to domestic issues. But critics see it differently. They warn this isn't just a budget cut, it's a withdrawal from the moral responsibility. Yes, because food aid isn't charity, it's often the only lifeline standing between the children and starvation, families and collapse, regions, and total instability. Take Yemen, for example, a country already ravaged by war, poverty, and hunger. For years, millions have relied on food aid from international donors, especially the US. But due to these funding cuts, food rations have been slashed. Some families now receive food only once every 2 months. In Somalia, the story is very similar. The World Food Programme has had to suspend aid to over 3 million people, not because the need disappeared, but because the money did. Let that sink in. People aren't going hungry because there is no food. They are going hungry because the funds to distribute that food have also vanished. And it's not just about the calories, it's about the stability. So, food insecurity often leads to mass migration, conflict, and political unrest. Yes, when people can't feed their families, they move out. When they move, they enter the new regions, putting pressure on the already fragile systems. And that cycle can quickly spiral. Now, let's step back and ask, why would the US cut something so essential? Some analysts point out to the massive military and geopolitical expenditures over the past year. Billions have gone into defense aid for allies like Ukraine and Israel. And while those are complex, pressing matters in their own right, they have come at a cost. Humanitarian funding has taken a backseat. So, here others argue that the US is shifting its strategy, focusing less on direct aid and more on infrastructure, private investment, or other long term development projects. But while long term growth is important, that doesn't help the child starving today. And then there is the political side as well. Foreign aid has become an easy target in US politics. It's often painted as wasteful spending, or worse, as the money going to the corrupt governments instead of the people in need. So, guys, what do you think on this? Let me know. That narrative, whether accurate or not, has gained lot of traction. But the truth is, humanitarian aid is one of the most transparent and impactful tools in the global arsenal. Every dollar spent on the food aid can mean the difference in the society between a child living or dying as well. So, what does the future look like from here? Right now, the World Food Program is sounding the alarm and too loudly. They have warned that without urgent funding, they will have to continue cutting the assistance, not just in war torn nations, but in the regions affected by the climate change, economic collapse, and displacement. So here come the list like countries like Afghanistan, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Haiti. These are not places that can afford the more suffering. And here is where it gets the real. The US cutting aid doesn't just reduce the food on plates, it signals a broader shift in how the world responds to this crisis. If the leader in global aid steps back, others often follow, and that could unravel decades of progress in fighting the hunger and starvation. Meanwhile, on the ground, aid workers are facing impossible choices. Who gets food this month and who doesn't? Which village is prioritized and which is left out? Those are not choices anyone should have to make, but they are being forced to daily. And the people most affected are they have no choices in these decisions, no say, no vote. They are simply left to endure the consequence of the political decisions made oceans away. So, guys, where does that leave us? The US food aid cuts aren't just a policy change, they are a global alarm bell. They reveal the fragile thread holding millions of lives together. They show how easily that thread can snap under political pressure and shifting priorities. So, this isn't just about the whether you are liberal or conservative. This is about the humanity. So, please have a look on it and think about it. Because when the wealthiest nations step back from the responsibilities, the poorest pay the price as well. But the conversation doesn't stop here. What should be the role of global powers be in humanitarian aid? Should food ever be treated as negotiable item? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And guys, if this topic moved you, share this video with your friends and family. Awareness is the first step to action. If enough of us care about others, maybe we can shift the priorities back to people when they matter most. So, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and I will see you in the next one.